went all the way to the stone steps leading up to the shrine grounds. Of course, we weren't going to want to haul our bikes up there, but we parked them beside the staircase instead. So this is the Furude Shrine. Everyone comes and goes as they please, as if it were a park, but this place is actually a grand estate owned by the Furude family. So the entire shrine is private property? It really makes you feel the passage of time. 10 or 20 years ago, it would have looked the exact same. Now wouldn't that mean that the Furude family is really old? With a history going back for generations? Yeah, they're gone. That's odd. Rena said something clearly disquieting, so I ran over towards her. What's wrong, Rena? Rika-chan and Sakato always leave their bicycles here. See? They're gone. I took a look around. Indeed, there were no other bikes aside from the ones we'd taken to get here. Couldn't they have parked them elsewhere? Could they have brought them up the stairs? These girls couldn't do that, Keiichi could. Just as she said, I couldn't imagine Rika-chan and Sakato looking their bikes all the way up there. We hadn't yet knocked on Rika-chan's door, but reality was already sparking some ideas that weren't what you call good. Maybe they were just parked under some trees and we hadn't noticed them. I refused to believe that not being able to find their bikes was proof that they disappeared. Let's go. The only way to be sure is to check their house. We all nodded and dashed up the stone steps. We passed through the red arch and came onto the shrine grounds, which was covered in neat gravel. It was so quiet here, as though the Watanagashi festival never happened. So where's the house they live in? Over here. Come with me. Rena took the lead and sprinted off. We went towards the assembly hall behind the shrine, then looped around behind it. In the darkness of the night, we found a small prefab 2-story shack that looked like a warehouse. The lights are off. Are they sleeping? Let's knock. Ren and me are near the shack, which didn't really look like a place people would live. They had such a beautiful shrine, so I figured they lived in an equally beautiful house. It was far from what I expected. Rika-chan, Sakato-chan, are you there? Rena shouted up towards the second floor. Her voice was restrained at first, but it grew steadily louder. No answer. In fact, there wasn't any sort of activity in the house at all. They might be sleeping. Let's wake them up. Leon banged on the shutter with both hands and the loud sound echoed into our surroundings. They would have noticed this much noise. They would turn on the light in their room, fling open the windows and yell, "What time do you think it is?" That, however, wasn't happening. There was absolutely no response. Leon stopped, slamming her fist onto the shutter, and a sudden silence fell over us. The silence aroused terrible thoughts in us. I could feel the blood draining from my face. It's locked. I wonder if we can get in somehow. Rena showed no signs of stopping. It didn't look like she would admit they were there until she went inside and saw for herself. Saw for ourselves. That refusal to give in gave me strength. The second story windows wouldn't be locked. I'll give them a try. Kei-chan, a ladder. Leon brought over a ladder that was standing against the house. The footing was a little unstable for me to be climbing it, but Mion had held the ladder firmly in place for me. I hadn't climbed too many ladders. My inexperience with them exposed, I climbed up one step at a time and tried to open each window on the second floor. Mi-chan, I'm going to check the main house just to be sure, okay? I'll be right back. When I darted away. What, a main house? It's the Furude family's actual house. After her parents passed away, I think it's been left like that. Ah, right. Rika-chan's parents. They passed away, huh? At that point I recalled something else. Wasn't Sakato living here too? Sakato's also an orphan. Her parents fell from a cliff because of the Oyashiro-sama's curse. And her older brother Satoshi-kun, he disappeared. Satoshi, I've heard that name before. I remembered. He was the one who disappeared last year because of the curse. Ever since then, Sakato and Rika-chan have been living in this shack. Neither of them have any family, but at least they're together. They help each other out. When I said main house, didn't she? Wouldn't it be easier to live there? The curtains were drawn, so I couldn't get a good look inside to see, but two young girls living together seemed like a pretty tough life. I think she tried that at first. She said it was hard though, because it reminded her of her parents. I had no idea. I feel really bad for them. They were so normally cheerful at school that I never even realized an atom of this. Rika-chan and Sakato-chan, they have it hard, huh? She's cursed. Huh? Suddenly Mion said something in such a low voice that it sounded like she was really cursing someone, and I didn't let it slide. I turned around on the ladder to face her and ask again. Mion, what did you say? I said, she's cursed. Mion, still holding onto the ladder, brought her head up to look at me in the eyes. As soon as our eyes met, an absolute zero jolt of electricity surged through my body. Mion's eyes clouded over, and within them boiled and bubbled a stew of chaos. They rolled around and around like a raging sea, and bubbles floated to the surface. I had at some point been trapped on this ladder, like being cornered on a dead-end street. Mion, why are you making that face? I intended to follow that up with you're going too far with this joke and force her a smile. And give her a forced smile. However, on such even footing as I was, the only thing that came out of her mouth was a hoarse groan as I desperately struggled to not let nausea overwhelm me. Sakato Hojo. He's been cursed by Oyashiro-sama. Mion answers with a response to something I never asked, as if replying to someone else's question. The only people who fell from the park observation platform were her parents. Only her parents, who treated her like dirt, died that day. She was the only one to survive. And she was said to live with her aunt, who treated her cruelly, and the aunt was killed on the night of the Watanagashi by some deviant, who beat her to death so violently her brains were everywhere, and her brains had entirely different shape by the end of it. And Satoshi-kun, who always protected her, he suddenly disappeared on her birthday. Someone made him disappear, even though he wasn't abusing her. The police judged it to run away from home, but Satoshi-kun wasn't the kind of person who would do that. He was always earnest. He would never ask for anyone else's help. He would always drag himself through everything with hard work alone. He worked so hard he nearly ground his bones to dust, all for his one and only sister, and yet someone made him disappear. It was the only thing he lived for, and yet someone made him disappear. Poor Satoshi-kun. He was never rewarded, that Satoshi-kun. How ungrateful that child is. She is cursed. All who get near her suffer the same fate. The curse kills them. The curse makes them disappear. He cannot have any relief. She cannot have any relief. It's probable Sakato's fault. Oh, Sakato's fault that Rika-chan disappeared too. It has to be. Mion was mumbling words over and over that were no longer coherent. Her shoulders were trembling so hard that I could feel it through the ladder. I almost lost my footing, which made me realize just how far away the ground really was. Calm down, Mion. I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't sure if she even heard me. Mion rocked back and forth, and that rocking and trembling was becoming even more violent. Help me? The ladder, it's falling. Help me. Help. Just then, I heard the sound of many people running towards us. Oh, hey! Over here. I very nearly said help me outright. 4 or 5 adults led by Renner ran over here with flashlights. Keiichi-kun, Mi-chan, sorry I took so long. I borrowed the key. Oh, nice one. Seems all the windows and doors are perfectly sealed. I was getting worried. I heard Mion talking like nothing had happened, just like nothing had happened. I felt a chill run through me. The person currently holding the ladder in place, it was definitely Mion. It was the real Mion Sonozaki. Then, the person muttering to themselves. Just a few seconds ago. Who was that? The person who was bubbling about terrible things like curses? Who was that? I jumped down from the ladder as if running away before Mion turned into that person who wasn't Mion a second time. The adults tried a few different keys on a keyring as they tried to open the big shutter on the first floor. Rika-chan's house used to be a disaster shelter for the town council, so the key to the shutter is still kept in the mayor's house. It's Rika-chan and Sakato's private residence now, though. Well, this is on Rika-chan's properties anyway. No one complains about it. No one gave me a smile as she said that. I, however, could only return her gaze with an aghast expression. Mion was acting all too normal. Mion was acting all too normal now, that all contrasted with the more sharply with her earlier un-Mion-like creepiness. Bang! Bam! Clatter, 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 bang! The shutter opened for the first time in a very long while. Anna located the light switch and wasted no time going inside. I followed her in. Rika-chan, Sakato-chan, if you're here, say something. We climbed a narrow staircase. Even it looked like nothing had nothing more. It had nothing. My God, it had looked like nothing more than a warehouse. But now that I was inside, I could feel how lived in it was. It was a person's home. Somehow the scent of the two of them filled the place. That was definitely where Rika-chan and Sakato lived. Oh wow, this music is creepy as fuck. The first floor doubled as the town assembly warehouse, but the second floor was a space entirely for living. Just like a one-room apartment, past the kitchen was the living room, taking up about 150 square feet. Dressers, cupboards and the like were packed into the space, and in the corner there was a huge pile of clothes that appeared to have just been taken in from drying outside. In the center of the living room was a fold-up table, and on it were small containers for things like soy sauce and salad dressing. A sense of a frugal lifestyle drifted from all of it. It was strange that they weren't here in the middle of the night like this. The adults climbing the stairs one at a time began to make a fuss and talk amongst themselves. So, not here? Yeah, they're not here. This is definitely weird. The village had just been thrown into chaos yesterday because of the mayor's disappearance. And today, even Rika-chan and Sakato had. Were they out playing somewhere together? That can't be. Their bicycles aren't here though. Where would they have gone so late at night? Have they just not come back yet? Where did they go? The adults put forth various possibilities, and the house immediately devolved into a state of confusion. Eventually, Mion settled them down. I don't want to believe it, but the mayor, Kimayoshi, disappeared yesterday. You can't say this is unrelated. The adults' faces paled at Mion's declaration. Mine and Renner's did as well. Let's see, they could have gone nearby for some tea or something and accidentally fallen asleep. Whoever invited them might just not be able to wake them up at all. Let's eliminate that possibility first. Nakano-san, please go around to the houses near the stream. Keitaro-san, go look near Gojaga Lake. Okumura-san, you... Mion promptly gave directions to the villagers. The adults followed them without hesitation despite her age. We'll remain here and call up anyone we can think of on the phone. Okay everyone, could you have your orders? Got it. The adults all roamed in a reply and pounded back down the stairs below. Wow, Mi-chan, you're not the only chairperson of the school, but Hinamizawa too? No time for jokes. Hey, step aside. This old man is using the phone. Mion grinned proudly, took the receiver and got started. Renna gave Mion a trusting look, considering her dependable for doing all this. My feelings, though, were a little more complicated, as her leadership seemed to be affirming the Sonozaki family successor impression that Shion and Yoshi-san had given me. Stop right there, Keiichi Maibara. None of that matters right now. The most important thing is to make sure Rika-chan and Sakato are safe. Let's see, could there be a clue hinting at where they might have gone somewhere in this room? Still though, I wouldn't know what to look for anyway. If we tore the whole place apart and figured out what was different from before, we might be able to speculate, but there was nothing strange about this room and no clues in the sight. In the first place, I had never been here before. There was no way for me to know what was different if I didn't know how the room usually looked. Hey, don't give up, Keiichi Maibara. Stop thinking and start looking. For something. In search of something, I tried pulling open the dresser drawers and opened the windows. I didn't uncover anything meaningful though. When also unable to stand around doing nothing, was looking around the room like I was. Renna, I don't think you'll find Rika-chan by opening the refrigerator or the cabinet beneath the sink. I just thought they might be hiding. Ow. As we were searching, it got noisy outside. The villagers were quickly assembling here, having heard a commotion. Of course, a lot of them were probably people Mion had called. I'll go tell everyone what's going on. The police will be here sooner or later too. We need to explain this situation to Oshi. Mion began descending the stairs and we followed her out of the front of the house. already around 10 adults here. Why, 10 adults there? And all of them looked uneasy. I suddenly noticed that the old people from the shrine were here as well. They were praying for Rika-chan's safety, rubbing their prayer beads. It had gotten bad. This wasn't just a problem between friends anymore. Mion, is it true that Rika-chan and Sakato-chan aren't anywhere to be found? The villagers all formed a ring around Mion, swarming her. Mion raised her right hand as if silently telling them to calm down. Boy, I'm losing the ability to read. First, let's check every house according to the town council's notification division and see if they're visiting anyone. After all, they could be fast asleep at someone's house and totally unaware that we're looking for them. It would definitely be hard for someone to wake up Rika-chan if she had eaten a good full meal and fallen asleep like a kitten afterwards. Oh, how nice it would be if that were the case. I don't want to think about this, but it's also possible something bad has happened. Leon's face grew remarkably more grim, and a wave of silence washed over the adults. We should divide up the work too. We'll go around to the places we went last night while looking for the mayor. We'll go look around the dam construction site as best as we can. You guys go search around the school. Right, let's get a move on. Come on, let's go. All of you were up all night looking for the mayor. I know you're all low in sleep, but please do your best. Got it. With that as their signal, the adults scattered in every direction. I figured I should scatter somewhere as well, as I started walking unsteadily in a direction no one else had gone in. I was getting further and further from people. I didn't feel scared or anything though. If someone were made to disappear, Shion and I should be first. It would have been perfectly normal for me to be scared of the dark. However, I didn't feel that way. Why was that? It was because tonight, someone had already disappeared. So nobody else would disappear tonight. It would take some time before I, exhausted as I was, would feel guilty on the cause of my own selfish sense of relief. Yeah, Rika-chan and Sakato disappeared for your sake, eh? I love part A of this chapter, eh?